Hi there, and welcome to Code the Future, where we sit down with the leaders, innovators, and big thinkers who are driving our software-defined future. Today, we're chatting with Augustin Friedel, a must-follow on LinkedIn for anyone tracking the future of transportation. With a career spanning startups, automakers, and consulting, Augustin is a sought-after voice on the global automotive speaker circuit, captivating audiences from Silicon Valley to Shanghai and Detroit to Dusseldorf with his insights around the ever-evolving SDV landscape. I wanted to have him on the show today because few people are as plugged into the global SDV conversation as he is. From AI integration to developer ecosystems to the build versus buy decisions that automakers are constantly facing, Augustin brings a grounded, real-world perspective that cuts through the noise. Augustin, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here with you today, Matt. And let's kick off the podcast.
Sounds great. So maybe for those who are unfamiliar, you can provide a little bit of a background on yourself, your work in the industry, and maybe what sparked your passion to get involved.
Sure. Yeah, so basically my background is in mechanical engineering. But then during studies, I decided, okay, I don't want to get the classical route in like automotive and automotive industry. So I spent a couple of years in the startup ecosystem here in Germany. So that what also brought me to Berlin because like around 2010, this was basically the hotspot of startups and venture investments in Europe. And since then, I'm here in the Berlin area. But my career changed then. I moved on to the automotive industry around 5 to 6 years ago, or 7 years ago already, working for like the biggest OEM here in Germany, Volkswagen Group. And since 2022, I'm with a management and IT consulting company. It's called MHP. It's owned by Porsche, but we work with the whole automotive industry. I think we have also like projects where we have like QNX involvement. We work with your colleagues in the different automotive and supplier projects. So that's about my professional career. And I think then you, Matt, and your colleagues reached out because of my activity on LinkedIn that you also mentioned. So that's basically the passion, what I follow in addition to my professional job, where I shared in a lot of insights on the automotive industry, what's going on there, especially linked to like all the trend and hot topics, the software-defined vehicles, software, autonomous driving, the global trends in China and so on. And I mean, it's my passion basically to drive that is kind of like educating then also the industry, the executives and the teams on, okay, what does it really mean? Yeah, so and we see a lot of news and updates basically every day on software-defined vehicles, and often it's hard to understand, is it more like marketing or is it like real business behind? And basically that's what I try to cover then also on the communication that I do, and do this education part and sharing the more context within the industry and the decision makers.
That's great. No, I think, yeah, I mean, your point around separating the signal from the noise is really key because there's so much news out there. Everything that happens during a day, you do a great job of distilling it all and sort of identifying those key takeaways that people within the industry really ought to need, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah, thanks
mentioned.
for that. Thanks for that. And maybe one comment there also, I think what also my passion is, and there is to basically move also beyond the product. As you're in the automotive industry, most of the listeners probably as well. I mean, we all love to talk about like the product and the vehicle itself. But then also like on the whole transformation, and I think you also know it very well, and you have different activities in there as well. Yeah, we need to see it as a whole concept. Yeah, so it's not only about the vehicle, it's also about the mindset, the culture, the organization, and then also like the tool chain that we need to fix and update.
No, that's so true. It goes so much further than just technology, doesn't it? Right.
Yeah.
I mentioned at the outset, you're a bit of a globetrotter, right? And I know you spent some time in China recently. You've spoken on a number of different panels in Europe. Maybe you can share a couple of the key takeaways from some of your recent trips in those regions.
hmm Yeah, so I was in China, I think 2 weeks ago, and there are like two of the takeaways. One is linked to culture and motivation. Yeah, so the vibe that you see then there in the automotive and tech industry is very inspiring and motivating. As you have a very or like a lot of very smart people with like a great mindset, and then also this kind of like risk taking attitude, which we I think miss a bit here in like at least in Europe and probably also at the big US OEMs. Yeah, so I think this was one of the big takeaways that we need to like get inspired more in this direction as well. And I mean, there it was also clear that there are a lot of unknowns. Yeah, so not it's not everything clear, and you often get here then also the impression when you read the news and read the headlines that okay, it's a done deal on software-defined vehicle development or also AI. I think there it's also a takeaway from the last trip that it's not the case. Yeah, so they are all on a journey. They don't know basically the end game. But what they do differently is okay the way how they get to this end game with more, as mentioned, risk taking attitude, more flexibility, then also just try things and then change ways or direction when they realize okay it's not working out. I think that's the second one. Yeah. So first one, culture and motivation, and then also the second point, it's that there are a lot of unknowns, and then also not everything is clear, which is then also again like opportunity for the existing or like the old traditional OEMs, because okay if they change their mindset and culture, they can also be part of this the same narrative as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's great. And I think, well, one of the other areas you're well known for, being vocal around is sort of your insights around AI and how
Different.
AI will impact both the development process, software development process, and the in-car experience. Maybe you can talk a little bit about what you're seeing in that space and, what the future might look like
Hmm.
as the technology matures and as OEMs get a little bit further in terms of their digital transformation journeys.
Yeah. I mean, if we stay in this in-car experience space, I think the most relevant area where like consumers will see the impact of AI, probably not direct. It will be just embedded, and not sure if they really will think about it. That's an AI use case or an AI application is in like others solutions, especially if you talk about level 2 plus or level 2 plus plus on the SAE level, and then of course like level 3 and eventually level 4. I mean, this is not possible without AI impact. And I mean, also if you, and it's also learning from China probably. If you see then okay what like or how the systems work there, it's less about let's say the algorithms and rules that were like more like in the machine learning age and were driving like ADAS and autonomous systems in the or the development in the past. It's all about end-to-end AI models, like either in the monolithic way or then in the let's say sub-layer way. But I mean, they're like end-to-end AI is like the key player, and this will be like it's still small today, I would say, but a significant area where then also the consumers, the users, will see the power of AI. And the second space is then, of course, the digital cockpit. There we see a lot of use cases already around then communication and customer interface. Yeah, so where we get them like all these smart AI voice assistants and AI-enabled avatars. But I think this is just the beginning. I mean, we will see then more AI use cases or embedded AI, then also in the visualization, and then also like an interior sensing, and so on, and then also like the personalization of the IVI. And I think also a trend or development that we might see is that AI will become more like a commodity, as you know it from, let's say, electricity. Yeah, so that AI will be like in all the different use cases, features, and functions. and the user is not even recognizing that. Yeah, so it's kind of given or usual. We only will see it if there's then kind of like AI blackout. Yeah, so as you know it from the electricity or the internet. Yeah, so it's there on a daily basis. We just realize, okay, shit, it's or like realize the power of the electricity and internet if it's gone, if there's like a blackout, and the same might be the case then for AI as well.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really interesting analogy, the commodification of AI, so that one day it ultimately just becomes something that you don't even think about, like switching a light switch on, right? And I
Mhm.
think, we've got a long way to go in terms of that trust piece, and everyone sort of getting comfortable in that regard. And I know, I think MHP has done a lot of work in in this area as well, right? Like you guys released your No AI, No Future study earlier this year, which revealed
Mhm.
that compared to other industries, the automotive sector remains relatively cautious when it comes to investing in AI, computing power, personnel, budgets. I mean, why? I guess why do you think that is, and what were some of the other key findings that your
Mm.
study revealed that you were sort of
Yeah.
surprised about?
Yeah. I think there, like in AI investments and so on, we need to separate between, let's say, the new kids on the block and then the traditional OEMs. What we see, as you mentioned, Matt, with like the traditional OEMs or like legacy OEMs, I call it often more like they follow a lipstick AI approach, yeah, so that they try to bring AI in, let's say, their companion apps or in voice assistants, often then as partners, and don't do this kind of like vertical approach with then capex and R&D investment. I mean, the reason for that might be because that's their way of working. They know, yeah. So also, if we look at different platform shifts in the past, linked to like cloud solutions, maybe or digital services, they often followed like this proof of concept route first before they realized, okay, maybe we need to get all in. And that's what we see already in China. Yeah. So if you then take OEMs, new OEMs, Li Auto, probably you've heard of them as well. They said then, okay, we are not a car company anymore. We are an AI company or AI first company. Yeah. So they have completely different ambition and put the ambition then also in like their kind of vision and mission of the company, and translate this then also in like huge investments. They say, for example, okay, we spend 50% of our R&D budget on AI projects. Yeah? So there we talk about then an R&D budget of $2 billion a year. So it means then $1 billion of AI investments per year, which is then huge. And then go like there in the vertical route to then also invest in the models and in different use cases and so on. Yeah. So I think this is what we describe also in the study and in the presentations that we do around the study. Yeah. So that there's basically this huge gap then between new OEMs and challenger OEMs and the traditional ones. Um, the second, or like some other findings that we released or covered then there, also in the studies about the use cases and the willingness to pay for then the different use cases. And there also, you know the automotive industry also quite well. I mean, to build a new revenue streams with digital services, digital solutions is one of the, like, say, let's say strategic goals or ambitions of let's say Stellantis or also Volkswagen. Yeah, and then also we asked 5,000 people globally, and then the result was also that around 75% would not pay, or the willingness to pay is close to zero for AI use cases. And if they want to pay, it's then more like in this, when they get the vehicle, not for subscriptions or features on demand and so on. Yeah, so this is basically then also like super relevant and for the automotive OEMs to reflect that in their calculations, in the business cases, and so on. Yeah, so that it's maybe not like the, let's say, the next gold rush for them, or like the tool that will fix their revenue challenges.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's quite interesting. I didn't realize it was that low in terms of the amount of people that would be willing to pay for that
Yeah,
infusion of technology, right? Driven use cases.
yeah.
So I guess thinking back to the Charlie Miller, Chris Valsek G-Pack of 2015, that was kind of a wake-up call for the automotive community when it came to cybersecurity vulnerabilities, right?
Mm.
Would you say we've had a similar sort of, inflection point when it comes to the AI bandwagon? If so, what was that? Or do you think that's still to come?
That's a really interesting question. I thought a lot about that. And my personal perspective is that it's not this one single moment, but we have like different or like multiple moments that could be seen as a kind of inflection point within the industry. And I mean, one is the shift of Chinese automotive OEMs and the narratives. Yeah, so moving from a car company to AI first company. That's like a bold move. Then one also of the changing moments in the industry was the release of the ADAS systems by BYD, God's Eye system, where they said, okay, we roll out over the air for free ADAS solutions, ADAS services across the whole portfolio, ranging from the less than 10,000 US dollar vehicle up to the 120,000 US dollar vehicle, of course, with different features and functions, but all enabled and powered by AI. Yeah, so this was definitely like a turning moment for the industry, and was kind of shocking also for like other Chinese OEMs, but also like then the Western players. And maybe a third point here that is all was also very relevant for the industry, and also shows how, let's say, important AI already is for the industry, is this DeepSeek moment. Yeah, so we know like DeepSeek worried everyone then in the consumer space, and then question, okay, is if Google or OpenAI, if they're on the right track. But again, if you look there in the automotive industry, it was fascinating to see how fast, especially like the Chinese OEMs and then also international OEMs like Volkswagen that are active in China, how fast they were able to implement then the DeepSeek models, the DeepSeek solutions in their portfolio. And there you see also, okay, how high the pressure is, and then also how flexible the systems are set up, that this is feasible in a short period of time. It was like a matter of weeks, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, really impressive. I mean, just going back to your comment about Li Auto calling themselves an AI first company as opposed to, leading with car company first.
Yeah.
When you think about, sort of the build or buy dichotomy in terms of what OEMs should build themselves versus what they should outsource to the ecosystem or other technology partners, how do
Mhm.
you look at that? Do you think is there a one size fits all approach, or do you see value in different OEMs, deciding
Mhm.
to control the whole stack versus a portion of it? How do you think about that?
Yeah, so there's no black or white, or as you mentioned, one size fits all approach. It's different then also by, I would say, first the use cases that you would like to tackle, where you would like to make a difference. Then also, and then so far we talked a lot about, let's say, product AI, yeah, so others cockpit AI solution, and then also I think there also is this build or buy. You need to expand it and also to the tool chain, yeah, because there, I mean, AI is then also like one of the leverage to basically reduce cost, and then also like time to market, which is then very significant for the OEMs all across the globe to stay competitive. Yeah, so and taking then into account different vectors, I would say makes sense to make them like a build versus buy decision. The first one is, okay, do you really make a difference by building it, or is it already commodity? And okay, it's better to buy and then also ensure that you have set up your systems in a way that you can basically change the AI models or the modules that you buy relatively fast. If there's like this kind of DeepSeek model where you get in like 10% or 90% lower prices with the same price performance, etc. I think this should be considered if it's a commodity or if you can make a difference. Then also it depends on the internal capabilities of the different OEMs or then also suppliers. Yeah, so do you have like skills already to build AI solutions, or does it take too long? Is it too expensive to build the skills to then make or then build like the AI solutions? So this is definitely then also one vector I recommend or we recommended MHP to follow. And then also it depends again, like in regions and in the volumes and the segments where you are active. Yeah, so if you have like a huge volume of vehicles like Stellantis, Toyota, Volkswagen, I mean, there you have different economies of scale, and there probably it makes sense to think more about in this build direction, because you can utilize then the cost across the whole portfolio. If you have more like a, let's say, premium or a lower volume portfolio, then okay, it might make more sense to buy. Yeah, so it's a complex decision process, and that's where we help then also our customers to make them the right ones. So it's definitely like not a one fits all and a simple approach.
And what about the role of, I guess how AI will impact the role of software developers more generally? Do you think it will reduce the need for human developers, or will it create more opportunities for developers within the field?
Um, I would say it will not reduce the number of software developers. I think it's software developers that are not using AI will be replaced by software developers that are relying or utilizing AI very well in their work. I mean, what we see then there also linked to software at automotive OEMs, the backlog is full. Yeah, so I mean, more efficiency would mean in the first place that they can reduce basically the backlog of features and functions and bug fixes, etc. They need to develop and roll out. And then as we are moving towards software-defined vehicles, there we are also, I would say, just at the beginning. Yeah? So if you looked at the global volume, we have just 5% of like SDVs on the yearly sales. Yeah? So we will see there a huge increase over the next decade, yeah, to maybe 40, 50, 60% of volume share per year. So I mean, this means then also a lot more projects linked to software-defined vehicle, where you then also need more developers. So this is one trend where I would say it's we need more developers instead of less. And then the second dimension is the complexity of systems that we build. Yeah, so if we think about ADAS solutions or then in-vehicle operating system solutions, yeah, so there you basically software is playing a more crucial role, and then also with like all the updates that come frequently. I mean, this also someone needs to develop that. Of course, AI will play there like a relevant role. But like at the end, it will be still like people driven, and there I'm very optimistic that we need more software developers that are getting better and more efficient by utilizing then AI tools.
I'm sure every developer loves to hear that, the fact that there's lots of opportunities,
Mm,
it's going to be growth, there's more demand.
yeah,
So tell your sons and daughters to get into the field, because
yeah.
AI will not take your jobs, is what you're
Yeah.
saying.
And I mean also there I think one other fact that might be interesting as well is if you think about the value creation of software developers today, a lot of work I would say is then also maintaining to, let's say, outdated systems, outdated tools and so on. So the real value creation or the time they can spend on developing new stuff is kind of like challenge today. And if you think then about maybe I could be then also infused in the tool chain for requirements automation or like test case automation, and so on, and then also have like contradictory free requirement catalogs and so on. Yeah, so or then also if you talk about documentation and software update management and so on. Yeah, so there are a lot of tasks can be taken over by AI or AI enhanced tools and free up time from developers so that they can spend more time on really like building software instead of doing like all the
Yeah.
documentation and maintenance.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it definitely sounds like there's a ton of potential to sort of free up time to do some more value, a creative or innovative work, right? Which
Mm.
is great to hear. Last question that we always ask our guests. You've been in the industry a long time, seen a lot, done a lot, been on a lot of panels. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your younger self to give that younger self a piece of advice, what would it be and why?
Mm, I mean, there the question I'm asking myself is, okay, have I taken the right decision in going like in startups first, as I mentioned, and start my career in corporate? Yeah, so I think I would be further ahead in my career if I would basically yeah, jumpstart right in like consulting or the automotive space. But on the other side, okay, it was also very, very fun part to be in the startup ecosystem and startup world. Yeah, so I think that's one advice is really decide, okay, do you want to follow your passion or do you want to follow a career? There, I would say, in most of the cases, it's either or. Not in all the cases is okay. You can do like all the fun stuff and then also be like on fast track of your career ladder. So I think that would be definitely one advice. Yeah, so be clear about that. What you prefer then more, is it more like the passion projects, and then maybe risk that that your career path is a bit slower, or are you like full the career person and like go in this direction and maybe have then like less fun and less time for passion projects. Yeah, so this would be one, and then the second one is select very carefully the team that you're working on. Yeah, so I think this is then also like key of being then like satisfied going to work every day, and because you see them more than your family basically, and your friends, and I think that's and also yeah, very relevant.
Yeah, no, great insights. While it may have been a long and winding path, you've definitely made a name for yourself within the automotive, SDV space. So really enjoyed chatting with you today. Thanks again for making the time.
Thank you very much, Matt. It was a pleasure. Hope it's a lot of insights for your guests. And yeah, if there's any feedback also from like your audience, just ping me on LinkedIn or reach out to me. I'm easy to identify. You should find me on the different platforms. More than happy to chat there, or like also to help on the different challenges that you have.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Augustine. I really appreciate it.